Computer. Welcome, Chris Evans TV. We are back with little Dave, and we have some cool topics for you guys today. We have two. We're going to start with like rest recovery health supplements. Oh, weird. Again, right? And then we're going to get into how to find balance and achieve anything great. So we'll have to wait and see for that one. But where I thought we would start is him and I were just kind of going back and forth this morning. His left lat was kind of sucked up into his armpit, which we dealt with at North Americans. And I had to manually massage him before he got his tan to get that thing to release. So, what I said was, hey, man, like, I need you to get to the massage therapist and have your pec, everything on your rib cage. So serratus, intercostals, the lat where it attaches inside the armpit, the lat itself, the shoulder, the trap, all that needs to be dug out and released. And then that lat will just pop right out. So I have no science, and I'm sure we could probably have Danny on to talk about why that happens. And I'm sure it's all rib cage related, but
it's probably how I sleep because I sleep like a jackaloon.
Okay.
Like, in all reality, I know it's from that, but it's like I sleep good that way, but my body hates it. And it's one of those things that's like, if I alter the way I sleep, I don't sleep good, but I don't have it. I know what it is.
You know what's funny is I've tried to make myself sleep on my back, and I can't fucking do it. I just can't. I can't lay flat on my back and have like restful sleep. So
actually, it's funny. My girlfriend, she has this like pregnancy pillow. She doesn't have any kids, but I stole that thing.
Okay.
Jesus fuck, dude, that thing is money. Like, because it's shaped like a U, but upside down.
Yes.
So it has like the arms. My arms, I'm not like, my shoulder's not like fucked up in the mornings because I sleep on my side.
Oh, right. Okay.
Money.
Okay. I'll have to get one of those. I think we actually have one at the house.
Probably.
Go ahead, Jackson. I'm sure we do. It's somewhere in the basement tucked away.
Yeah.
But anyways, what that led us into is he messaged me back and said, done, scheduled for Sunday. And my response back to him was like, thank God, this is why we get along, right? Like the amount of times clients will fight back and push back on that shit with me. Chris, no, it's stupid. I don't have enough time. I don't want to spend money on that. Fill in the blank. I've heard everything. It doesn't work. I can tell you this.
I don't have money for that while they continue to buy another pair of Jordans. It's like
correct. 1,000%. Like, it's one of those things where I've seen that happen time and time again to competitors. The lat just sucks up into the armpit and you get it dug out in the massage in 60 to 90 minutes, and the muscle is back full throttle again in one, maybe 2 or 3 sessions. So like I've seen that shit literally over 100 times at this point. So now it's just like easy recipe, send, go, done. Right. But what I said to him was, you would be shocked how many people fucking fight that. And to me, it stems from all 3 facets of anything what most people consider productive bodybuilding. So rest, recovery, and fucking massage body work. Like those 3, for some reason, for a lot of individuals that do what we do, put those on the back burner. And then you said, hey, that also includes health supplements. And you're 100% right. Like for some reason, people don't value that as important as training or food. And I can't, or definitely not drugs. Like they'd rather fucking take 3 more Anadrol than take fish oil or anything for their liver, kidneys, and heart. And that blows my fucking mind, right? Like most just don't understand the importance of, oh, by the way, your liver is the organ most vital for fat loss, and yours is dirty as shit. Let's not clean it out. Let's just do more cardio and make your diet harder. Or we can take 6 pills a day and that liver is clean. Do some lemon water in the morning with some glutamine. All very low price point buy-ins.
Yeah. Well, also the lemon water, glutamine, right? You're starting your day. Hydration. You're starting your liver off. You're going to process your food better. And then glutamine is going to help your digestion.
It's
like, why are you not doing this?
Right.
You shouldn't, like, that. All of these just make everything what you're already going to do better.
Correct.
Like, it's obviously not going to make you shredded, but it's going to add up over time.
Correct.
And that's one of the simplest things you can do. It's like, well, cool. I mean, how are you going to grow if your digestion's fucked? How are you going to grow if your liver's fucked? How are you going to come in stage dry if your kidneys don't function? That regulation of water. It's like, oh, why am I holding so much water? It's like probably stress or your kidneys are fucked.
Yes.
It's like if you didn't manage, one of them you can control, one of them you can have to alter things to do, right? But like both of those are in your control.
Yeah. But now what, right? If I say, hey, take a kidney supplement, they're like, ugh. I say, oh, take up your fucking Winstrol by 50 mgs. Fuck yeah, it's done. Like, it's not, it's such an interesting thought process, right? Like, why in the world you don't want to manage your health? But these are the same people have, I've always found, like, once they have a serious health issue, they blame bodybuilding. It's the sport, it's the drugs, it's the lifestyle. Oh, by the way, you didn't do anything to be preventative with this. Like, I think you and I both know, like, we probably took some back end years off of our life, or shortened it, or however you want to think about that. But we can maximize all that meat if we just do some pretty simple things with health supplements, rest, recovery, managing our blood pressure, all things like that, right? Like, it's pretty wild to me to think that most will, they'll send me a picture of their back double and their spine's like this. And I'm like, hey, you should probably get a chiropractic adjustment. Like, I know, fucking my back's good. And then 3 weeks later, they're doing a rack pull and bam, throw their back out. Weird. I predicted that a month ago, but that chiropractor visit that was $40 wasn't worth it. And now we missed 2 weeks of training. Hard. Like,
yeah. And now you're just hanging on by a thread. It was like, yeah, you could have saw a chiropractor. Chances are, first off, that's probably covered by your insurance.
Right. Yeah.
First off, right. If you have flexible spending, it generally is.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it's legitimately like those chiropractic appointments are 15 minutes. They go in. Mine's awesome. Dr. Bird, he's awesome. He'll go in and adjust me and be like, all right, by the way, this is happening because you're doing this.
Correct.
Yep. Right. And I'm like, oh, actually, that's super stuff, because then you can be like, okay, I know why this is happening. Let's fix it. And it doesn't happen again.
Right.
There's a couple times he's like, this is happening because of this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'll do it again. And I'm like, I'll just see you again next week. But
right. Right. It's mind-boggling, right? Because the body will tell us what to do, whether it be in photos or your feedback. And if you aren't receptive to that, to me, that means you aren't coachable, right? Because it's no different than if I was in a football game and the coach is like, you know what, I want you to blitz and go sack the quarterback. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna drop into coverage. It's okay. Yeah. He's like, okay, cool. The other 10 dudes around you are literally depending on you to do that singular action. But when it comes to this stuff, it's like, I don't know. I can't figure out why I'm not progressing because Chris said do this, this, and this, and I don't value this as important. So fuck them. Like, again, if that's going to be your thought process, I've always wondered, like, why even do coaching? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm literally telling you this based upon years of experience.
Yep.
So,
yep.
All right, that's an adequate rant. Take your fucking health supplements. Do the body work. Like, I'm telling you. Like, we'll post a side by side of like what you sent me this morning and like next week. Maybe that'll click for people. Oh shit, his left lat is now down. Awesome. It isn't because you lost muscle or it atrophied.
No. Yeah, no joke.
Oh. All right. So this topic of finding balance was yours. So I'm gonna let you kick it off.
All right. So well, basically, you can't. That's gonna sum that up in 2 words. You can't. In whatever aspect you're gonna do. If you want to be great at something, you're gonna have to be unbalanced. I mean, if you want to be mediocre at something, sure, be balanced as fuck. Be mediocre at everything you fucking do.
Yep.
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah.
Like if I get buried in the ground and I was like, I really do not want to be looking down at my grave from somewhere and be like, wow, I was really fucking mediocre in a lot of things. Yep. I would much rather be really fucking good at 1 or 2 things and not great at a lot of other things.
Yep.
And I think bodybuilding is probably one of the few sports or activities where people have to have balance. You take a look at, a professional piano player, right? They're practicing pianos, probably upwards of 40 hours a week.
Oh yeah.
On top of working a normal fucking job,
yep,
taking care of bills, and everybody would look at that and be like, he's a good piano player. It makes sense.
Yeah.
You fucking do it for bodybuilding. They're like, oh man, this is unhinged. You can't do that. You're just, all you do is work out and eat. It's like, well, obviously I have, you know what I mean? It plays into what it is.
Yeah. You know, I think it was David Goggins that I heard say this, right? And he said, when I'm standing in front of God, and I know I don't want him to look at me and say, you see that man over there? That's who you had the potential to be. And like that almost gives me cold chills saying out loud, right? Because it's like inevitably everyone has to face the man in the mirror, no matter what higher power you believe in. But in your heart, and unless you just have really low, shitty standards, you know if what you're doing is adequate, above adequate, or below. And to me, the way I've always thought about it, and anytime I have someone who says, I want Chris, I want to turn pro, I want to, any big goal physique wise, I always tell them this. If it's not in your top 3 priorities of life, you're never going to do it. So if I think about this logically, for me, it's bodybuilding, it's work, and it's my family. Those are my 3. Like, and it has been for the last 2 decades, or almost 2 decades, since I've been with Angela. Those have been the top 3. Of those 3, they cycle 1, 2, and 3. It isn't always like, and I hear people say, oh, this bullshit. Like, my family's always number 1. Fuck you. 2 weeks out, my family is not number 1. I'll be honest with you. My family is 3rd. Bodybuilding is 1, business is 2, they're 3. And she fucking feels that and will tell me. Like, Chris, like after these shows are over, like, I'm going to need you to, step back in and reinvest in our family, in me, show interest in my life. Like, and she's such a cool lady. She understands that shit. She's been through with it multiple times. Like, she realizes that in order for me to look incredible, I cannot have balance. It has to be those last 4 to 6 weeks. I have to fucking gas it. And I say that because there's a lot of dudes who refuse to admit it, right? And you know this because you've been with me long enough. You don't feel any loss of productivity of me coaching you because I refuse to allow that to happen. Right. So my number 2 work, when my work is number 2, it's still better than 99% of people on the planet.
Oh yeah.
It just
no
is.
joke, dude. No joke. I there's so many coaches out there, they get back to you in 3 days. Dude, I just had a kid reach out to me because his coach said to him, hey, I'm in prep right now, so I'm going to take about a week to respond to your emails.
Wow. Oh, that sucks.
And I was like, dude, I legitimately did my fucking client check-ins on the couch at North Americans. It took me 30 minutes in between fucking meals. You know what I mean? They weren't even fucking late. You know what I mean? It's just like, cool. Like, still have to work, right? You still have to do all your shit. It's so many people will put prep as an excuse, like, oh, it's not that. You know what I mean? Obviously, it has priority, but it doesn't mean you can't do things. You just have to find ways to do both. And that's about as far as balance as you're going to find.
Right.
If that means showing up to your girlfriend's parents with your own fucking Tupperware, it's what it means. If that means, cutting date night short because you have to do cardio in the morning, going to bed, doing all those things, it's what it is.
Yes.
It's you chose to do this. You have those action plans. You have to do them, right? And they come before things you want to do otherwise.
Yeah.
Like did I want to wake up at 5:30 this morning so I could do cardio? Yes, actually I did because I like to, but you know what I mean? Like, is there other things I could have been doing? I could have slept until 9 and then missed my first meal, been late, and that's just gonna obviously. I mean, I could try to. If that happened, I missed my alarm or whatever. I woke up at 9. I could definitely sidestep and make things work. It's not as good as if I woke up at 5:30.
Correct.
And that's all we're fighting for is the best possible outcome of what we're given.
Yeah.
It's not just I have to be a fucking robot every time. That comes to a play, but that's because of the choices we want. It's really that fucking simple.
I think all the people that scream balance have never achieved or attacked anything full throttle in their life. They don't. It's the same fucking people who don't go all in on a work set, in my mind. Those are the same people that want balance, and they're talking about RPE and all that shit, right? Like, stop it. Like, leave nothing to chance. Like, what if you had never been in shape? You've always been 3 weeks out conditioning, and you said, you know what, next prep, I'm going to go literally all in. those last 3 weeks, I'm going to gas it instead of like just chill, right? And have balance, so to speak. Because I have a lot of guys who are like, Chris, like my family can't take this shit anymore. It's 4 weeks out, and they're just they say I'm selfish. They say I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, all right, cool. Are you good not being in shape? Are you cool like not being winning? And if you are, accept that. But know that there's motherfuckers out there right now who will give up everything to have peeled glutes, literally everything in their life. And it's a decision you have to make. Like, do you want to be good or great? Do you want to be exceptional? Do you want to be elite? Because those people are the same people that will tell you, I want to be exceptional at it. Okay, cool. Like, this is what's required. Are you cool with that? No, because it makes me not be able to go drink with my buddies, or I can't play Xbox with my friends at 8 o'clock at night. Like, fill in the blank. I've had all types of excuses of why they need balance in their life. And I've never understood it. And if you look at any person who is fucking great at anything, there are periods of their life where they literally have to go all in, right?
Yep.
Go
Well,
ask Tom Brady's wife why they aren't still married. It's because
Yep.
that motherfucker went all in for 22 seasons. She wanted her
Yep.
husband back, and he's like, fuck you, I want to play football. He didn't know anything else. He's obsessed with it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those things. And I think my favorite thing about people finding balance is, how do you know where balance is if you've never been unbalanced?
Yeah, right. Yep.
I can tell you for a fact, I can go in places in prep where most people can't even fathom, and I can go there because I've been there.
Yep.
And that's about it. You wonder why I can take a work stat harder? It's because I've been harder. I've done it.
Yep.
You have to take legitimately, you have to go there to know where unbalanced is, to have any sort of balance.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. You want to know what happiness feels like? Get fucking sad. It goes both fucking ways.
Yeah.
There's no stuff like, you legitimately cannot have like, you do not know what balance is unless you've been unbalanced.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, you have to have balance. Like, cool. How's that feel? Fucking normal. Anybody who's different. I say that every fucking time when like people come up. It's like, cool. Do you want to be a bodybuilder? Because bodybuilding is not normal.
No.
You don't get to do normal people things if you want to be a bodybuilder.
No.
You get to do bodybuilding things. So it was your choice, right?
Yeah.
It's a simple concept, but goes right over people's heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Formula One drivers, they probably hate driving a regular car.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they know what 100% is. And they drive their mom's minivan. They probably like, this fucking sucks.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some balance for you.
You know what's funny, right? Is I've had 2 periods of my bodybuilding life where I have been unbalanced. And I think most people would assume the negative way. Everyone around me probably viewed it as negative, but for bodybuilding, it was positive. Guess what? Both of those times I've put on over 20 pounds of tissue in 2 years. And the first time I almost lost my wife because of it. And but at the same time, like, she understood, right? Like, I got kicked in the fucking teeth, and I said I have an option. I can either change my behavior, or I can eat 7 meals a fucking day, with the 7th one being the middle of the night, for 2 straight years. I didn't miss a workout. And by miss a workout, I mean I did not miss one singular work set. Every one of them was done to the fucking end. And I was at Gold's at the time training, and I would literally scare people and get complaints at the front desk. Like, the sets were taken to the fucking end. There was going to be 0 doubt, because I told myself and I told her, like, if I can't get better, I'm going to literally pick a new hobby. But I'm going to give it 2 years of just straight to the fucking face. And it was perfect. I mean,
yeah.
And then the second time was this past off season. After John's death and getting, again, kicked in the teeth of North Americans, I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to figure out, either I'm meant for this sport to keep going, or I'm just going to double down on business and make a fuckload of money.
Yeah. Actually, before I hired you, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, before I hired you, I told myself, if I can't eat on a plan for a year,
right,
I don't deserve a coach.
Yeah.
It was that fucking simple.
Mm-hmm.
I did that and hired you. Now we're at. But it's like, no joke. It's like, you have to have those things, what are slightly fucking off balance, to progress, right? Going back to our piano player, right? He's not practicing 40 plus hours a week. he's getting worse.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? He's not going to progress. They're not going to ask him to play at, whatever venue he's at. It's just how that is.
Yeah.
It's not like he gets to a certain level. He's like, I can back off now.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because that's how you get stepped over.
Yes. Yep. It's really interesting. Like I just had this talk with Ty because he's down there at Gardner Webb right now. And it's tough, right? Like he's one of the youngest, one of the weakest, and one of the most inexperienced wrestlers on that team, right? And there's dudes on that team who are skipping practice and they're like not all in with their workouts and their training and shit. And he's like, it pisses me off. Like it literally grinds him hard. Where he's like, those boys are starting ahead of me and they're working at quarter speed. And like he was getting depressed about it. So he was talking to Angela on FaceTime. I was like, hand me the fucking phone. And I looked at him and I said, I'm gonna be fucking honest with you. What you're doing right now is flawless with your effort. You need to keep doing this for the next 2 years. And every day those motherfuckers miss, you're gaining an inch on them. And every time they show up to practice and they dick off, like, and they don't work truly hard because they rely on their just God-given genetics to wrestle, you're getting closer to them. And then I said, by the time you're a senior, those motherfuckers are going to be wondering why you're pinning their ass with fucking ease. And I said, it's because you learned how to harden your mind and your body, and those assholes are weak as shit and don't know how to work. And no one's gonna fucking tell them that, right? Because I'm sure, like you remember what it's like when you'd walk in the gym, you'd be one of the smallest dudes there, right? And in your heart, man, I hit all my meals. I am literally taking work sets to the end, and there's all these dudes that are better than me, and they're fucking playing on their phones, they're fucking eating bullshit, they're fucking around with girls, right? And you're like, man, like one day I'm gonna catch you motherfuckers. Like, and then
fast forward 4 years and they're asking me questions.
Right. Right. Then they come to you for advice and they're like, oh, you used to be little Dave. I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, I'm 220 and shredded. Like, good luck. Like, while you were fucking playing, I was executing. And that goes back to me of most would call that shit that they're doing is balanced and us unbalanced. And to me, I'm like, no. That ratio is perfect if you're chasing greatness. And greatness for you can be different. I'm not saying we have to win the Olympia to have greatness. Like you're one in of 20 dudes at that point, right? Like the probability of that is slim to none. But there's no reason why we can't put 100 pounds of stage tissue on you. And that's greatness. That will blow people's mind. That will get you a pro card. Like, and then what we do after that is just continuing level up, right? Like,
yep. I always just get great satisfaction knowing if I'm on stage with someone, I know, and they know me and they fuck around, in the back of their head, there's the back of their head, Dave's back there, they know I'm not fucking missing.
Right.
They go out and party. They know for a fact on stage it makes me laugh inside, because I can't tell you how many people with better genetics than me or just better fucking talent, what I've just passed up and walked through, and they're wondering what the fuck happened, and I'm just like, don't miss. And they get to deal with that for the rest of their life. I'm gonna be in the back of their fucking head when they're doing squats, and that makes me sleep good at night.
Right. And it's funny, you go off stage in North Americans, and when we had finding a serious moment together, I was like, you're not fucking seventh, bro. Like, you're not. And I'm not saying anything about the judges. I know in my heart you're a better bodybuilder than seventh, and we just need more time, right? Eventually, that's going to be you, the last man standing with their hand raised, and us taking that fucking trophy home on the airplane, right? Like, I believed that, and I said that to you because it's the fucking truth, and I know that given your rate of trajectory, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, it's going to happen. I don't know how long, right? Like, it was a cool moment I had with Chris. We were at that gym I was telling you about, and it was his final workout, and like I could tell he was eating it hard, right? I go over to him, I grab him by the shirt, and I go, listen here, motherfucker, this could be the last time you ever work out as an amateur ever again. Dead serious, right? Like, staring that motherfucker in the eyes. And when we got in the truck afterwards, he was like, that was some powerful shit. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's the last time you've ever worked out as not a pro. and I didn't want you to leave anything on the fucking table. I wanted every inch of that muscle pumped. And it's the truth, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we never know when you go to a national show and you're in shape and you've added muscle and you look like you're ready to be competitive. You have to remind yourself, is this the last prep I'll be as an amateur? Okay. I'm training to be a pro. Why don't we start fucking acting like it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You look at Nick Walker and everyone talks about his progress. Motherfucker's unbalanced as shit.
Oh, 100%.
He doesn't miss meals. He doesn't miss workouts. He'll cut chicks out of his life like that. He'll cut dogs out. He'll take his whole family and move. Like, if it's not what he deems is the best situation for him to win Mr. Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
But yet everyone wants his progress, but they don't want to talk about that bullshit, right? I saw a video. I think I was watching a video of him during cardio this morning. I think he said he hadn't missed a meal in 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years. Most of you motherfuckers have missed a meal in the last 7 hours or 7 days.
Yeah, no joke. It's like you add up the little the check boxes we all have. Theirs are pretty fucking spotted. Versus his is flawless. And they're like, oh, it's definitely drugs.
Right.
This is why the same drugs I'm taking obviously aren't what he has something special. Yeah, consistency, motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, and just going down that rabbit hole even more, right? You'll have dudes who will put up a shitty dynamics of a relationship because it's comfortable. And like, oh,
yeah,
she loves me. No, she doesn't. She fucking hates that you bodybuild. She's annoyed that you're on a plan year round. Like the amount of times I have to fight with dudes, like, oh well, I have to have a cheat meal, or I had a guy tell me the other day, I'm traveling. My girlfriend doesn't want me to stay on plan. Okay, who am I coaching? Her or you? What would they literally they put me in a shitty spot? What would you do, Chris? I'll give you one guess what I would do.
Right? It's just oh my goodness. That's like the funniest thing to me because it's just like, I mean, obviously she's not you, bro. Like she can do whatever the fuck she wants.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something pretty fucked up there if you can't do what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've had people are like, oh, I can't shave my legs yet because my girlfriend thinks it's weird. You tell me you want to be a bodybuilder, like, bro, you're at least gonna have to be shaved, like, at least a month out of the year. Like, it's just weird. Oh, she doesn't like me doing this or that, or she doesn't want me using this drug. Like, again, who is running this dynamic? Like, and if so, you should really sit down and like reconsider things, or at least from my perspective, like, because you're gonna be stressed as shit every time you have, like, or you sneak around her back, right? Which is like, to me, even fucking worse.
That's way worse.
Oh, well, she thinks I'm natural. Good luck. Okay. Just
yeah.
wait.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see how long that lasts.
Right, because when that bitch,
like, what are these vials in the fridge? It's for my hair loss medication.
Right, because when that bitch finds out, she's posting on the internet. She's gonna screenshot that and post that shit on the internet. Like,
yeah,
I've got the amount of clients I've had that done that. Like, Chris, what should I do? Delete the fucking post and delete her. Like, fuck. Like, I don't know. I guess I've always, I think, just been black and white, right? Like, if I'm speaking about the relationship thing, like, there's so many women out there who are accepting of all different types of shit. You just have to find the right one. And if it doesn't fit with you in your life, like, why would I change to be unhappy or something that makes me less happy? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. It's to me, it goes back to, oh, well, Chris, you have to be balanced. You have to give up things. You have to sacrifice for others, right? Like, yes, that's true. I understand that when I married Angela like that, I would have to do that. But she also has to realize that when there's times of the year with work, with life, with bodybuilding, like, it's going to have to be the inverse. It's going to flip, right? Like, and I think so many people fail to realize that. Like, they just think, oh, bodybuilding is some like little part-time hobby we can do and be successful at. Well, some can with the really great genetics if you're elite level. But even then, like, once they get to where they're matched genetically, that's where they get surpassed by guys who are girls who just go all the fuck in, right? Like,
yeah. I think David Goggins actually said that. He's like, everybody has their limit to where they're going to progress without too much pushback.
Right.
But once you get to that point, that's where work begins.
Yes.
and it's not so fun.
Right.
In his words, right?
Mhm.
Or in his words, it is the fun part.
Yeah.
But that's honestly where the fun is, because you're forcing change into existence. Like I kid you not, like, well, we all started lifting, and without any, that's like they all talk about beginners or whatever. You get to that point where your body's like, okay, cool, we're fine staying here,
Yep.
right? And then you have to do something in order to progress from there.
Right.
And every time you do that, if you stop doing that, you're going to go back, right? No matter what. My body would very much like to be 130 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
That's where my limit was. I said, fuck you. That's basically what that came down to. But that's why you see so many people, they get into a decent shape or into a decent physique, and they can fuck around or whatever. It's because they really haven't pushed back to where they actually, that's a challenge for their body to stay there.
Oh, yeah.
David Goggins isn't running ultra marathons because his body likes that.
No.
No, it's really easy to see with someone that far. It's just like, oh, that makes sense. But bodybuilding, there's a curtain over it. You get balance.
Like, I mean, I think as many gyms as you and I have been into, if those dudes who, for 90% of the population, they look great, right?
Yeah.
But they got to that level and then they're just here. Like, they just maintain that physique. Like, nothing's getting bigger, nothing's getting harder, nothing's progressing. They're just chill. So, like, I'm good here. I'm comfortable here. And to me, like, if that's you, I have a really hard time relating to that mindset, right? Like, to me, when we stop bodybuilding, of course our physique will have to come down and then maintain, but then I'm going to find something else that scratches that itch of progression, whether it be learning a new hobby or a new skill, whatever. So it's always interesting to me, like, to not go in the gym and think, oh man, I have to improve something. And maybe it's because I was like a hardcore Milos fan when I was young, but he's like, when you train, you're there to put muscle on. Like,
Yeah.
when I'm in an off-season setting, the goal is putting on muscle. Like, no matter if I pick up any weight, that's the goal. If I'm in prep, the last 8 weeks, the goal is just literally maintaining every ounce of tissue I put on all off-season and the beginning of prep. And then the moment that show's over, it's like, okay, cool. Let's get massive pumps, not hurt ourselves for a week or two, and then we start training hard again to put muscle on. Like, that's the cycle and progression that I love and chase with bodybuilding. And that is not balanced, right? That is the opposite of go in and just chill.
Yeah.
Because we see that all the time with people training. That's the whole purpose. You and I hate RPE charts because it's going to hold you back.
Yeah.
For progress.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's that's why it's so popular, dude. Is because dudes they're like, is that an easier way to do things? Right. Oh, thank God there's an easy way to do it. It's like, it's the magic fucking fat loss pill that they had in the 90s. It's like, take this, you'll be lean. It's like, oh, do RPE training, you'll grow better.
Yep.
Like, how do you guys not see? It is my probably like, I observe everything. That's what I love doing. My favorite thing is walking into a gym. You'll probably see 5 or 6 guys, Renaissance periodization shirts. They're just decked out. They got their squat shoes. They got their wrist wraps. They got their everything. And they're the science. They've got their logbook and their fucking pencil with them. And they're 140 pounds.
Yep.
And they've been that same way for the next 2 years you train there. You're like, why aren't you fucking growing?
Right.
Like, I give you mad props. If you do all those things, like, I've been there. I've been that guy in the gym who you're like, why is this guy training so hard? You're 130 pounds. And then the next year I'm 140 pounds. And the next year I'm 150 pounds. And the next year, there's obvious progressions. You can see it, especially when you go back to the gym. I've been going to Butler Pro Gym for 5 years, easily 5 years. And there's a lot of the same members there. Like, that's a hardcore bodybuilding gym. And there's a good amount of people who go train there who've looked the same for 5 years. And that's fine. But I mean, they're the ones finding balance.
Yep.
We're the same sport.
Right.
Like, you do you, but if you do all those things and you're not progressing, I mean, like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, People ask me all the time about you. What's he do? What's the secret? Or they said to me about my recent progress. What's the secret? There's none, bro. It's accountability to your actions every day. Like, I really wish there was a secret to that, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying our way is the only way, but it fucking works.
Yeah.
You may be able to out science that shit, right? Like, you may be able to. And I think, like, you've seen Generation Iron, right? You know, they present Ben Bukowski as like this super smart science nerd, right? Where he's like, I'm going to do everything perfect. He's the anti-branch Warren, right? So many people fucking forget those videos of him training like a maniac before that movie came out. Like, that dude, there's a reason his legs were some of the best in bodybuilding history. He would go in the gym and do stupid shit, like craziness. Now, he was wearing the Vibram Five Finger shoes, so people associate that with like upper tiered thinking and like knowledge base. But listen, that dude was having 5 plates on his back and doing it for sets of 30. And then you go to the leg press and doing triple drop sets. And he was doing, I'll never forget, he was doing an ascending set of leg extensions where it was failure at every weight plate. He would go down the stack, up the stack. And at the end of the video, they shot it, right? And he was like, every day leading up to today, I have anxiety for that one set. There's nothing science about that because it's probably stupider than shit. But guess what? It worked.
Yeah. What's the RPE on that exercise?
107.
Right.
Like, oh, like those are the things I think that people forget, right? Like, they see him now and they're like, oh, he's science. He's this. Like, he wants you the perfect angle for when you contract your lat, right? I'm like, listen here, motherfuckers. The reason he finished second at the Arnold was because he was not scared to do stupid shit. Like, and when I say stupid, I mean like go bananas in the gym. Everyone forgets that, like, where he came from, where he built that physique that he shows the photos of versus now where he's out of bodybuilding and he's found his niche of like, hey, I'm going to uphill all these really smart guys and it works and it sells and it makes good money. That's not how he built his physique. That's why I think I always I will relate more to Branch, right? Because he's never faltered. He's like, I'm going to be a psychopath in the gym and I'm going to eat my fucking bro food. And he's that way when he was 16 and he's that way now when he's 50, right? He's still in there banging like we would.
Yep. Oh, and it's funny because he's changed the way he's done some things, but like, yeah, he's probably not using as many free weights now. He's using more machines, but he's still just fucking wrecking them. You know,
Right.
it's a controlled aggression.
Yes.
You know, it's legitimately. I mean, we can play all the science games you want, but like in all reality, there's not a single study done on competitive bodybuilders.
No.
Like if you took all of the actual, like if you took every single person at nationals, right, who's ever competed, and you put them all in a room for the year, we're talking like, 10,000 people,
right?
And compared to how many people are on the earth, like, yeah, please do a study on that. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying what studies are flawed, but it's like half the time, like, shit, dude, we're looking at like science done on mice. You're like, this mouse was given this training program. It's like the motherfucker ran in a wheel. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I always will go back to, right, like people that fight you on things that I know that work, right? Yeah. How many times now for the last 7 years have we leg curled before doing anything for quads? All of them.
Yeah.
Guess what? Your legs are way better, and so are mine.
Yeah. Actually, kid you not, I had a kid train legs with me yesterday.
Okay.
It was me, him, and Zach. The kid has amazing legs, by the way.
Okay.
But he always has done hamstrings and quads on separate days, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I just did my normal leg day, and legitimately, one thing he said when we were leaving, he's like, dude, I've never had a glute hamstring quad pump like this ever.
Yeah.
He's like, on my glute hamstring days, I leave, it doesn't feel like this. Cool. On my quad days, I leave, it doesn't feel like this. And I was like, I know.
Right. Yep.
Right. What I think the best part is we did 7 fucking sets yesterday.
Right. Don't tell people that they're gonna get pissed off. You're breaking the rules. Yeah.
You know, and that was honest. I'm stoked about that workout because I'm feeling I was able to floor it. And I'm super happy about that. But just to hear, like, it's just funny because it's just like, it's not like he's doing anything wrong,
No.
right? He's just like, whoa, that opened his eyes. It's like, do they have to be done separately? Nope. Can they be? Yep. I'm not saying it's wrong. We've both done it.
Yeah.
Right. But
Here's two things.
you get rid of a lot of fluff, and it's just that.
Here's two things I take away from that. Between the three of you, you did 21 total work sets, which is less than a lot of people do. So 3 of you, 21 sets. Now, if you think about that extrapolated, right? Like how much improved like muscle connection do you have to make those 7 sets count? Where do you have to go mentally to a different place that you and I both know? And then the flip side of that, like you showed him, hey, I don't have to split my legs up into 2 days. So now I have an extra training day or an extra rest day to play with. So to me, it's like, oh, cool. If your recovery's there, let's add a second back session or another arm session or more chest work, or take an extra rest day and use it as growth. Like, so there's like 2 lessons there for you guys to learn, right? Is 3 people, 21 work sets. And I guarantee you, Zach, and that kid all walked away saying, man, I couldn't have done one more.
Yep. And also, we started that workout at 5 p.m.
Okay.
We were done at 6:13.
3 people. Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to what we talked about last time. Those 2.5 hour leg days, I don't understand. And that was the 3 people. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Get off of your phone. Stop looking at that girl's ass in the Lululemon pants.
I can tell you that much. There was not a single phone used in that session.
Right. Yeah.
It was just that.
Yep.
I went, Zach went, he went.
I think Dave Tate said that somewhere on a T Nation article, where it's like, if you can text in a workout, it's not done right. Like,
yeah. I mean, in all reality, like none of that would have been like you would not have been able to like. He would not, if he tried to take a phone call, he would have been.
Yeah.
It would have sounded like he's either fucking his girlfriend or he just got done jogging.
Right. Listen, there's a reason that every time you're in town, I have Chaz film it. And I'm like, I always say to him, he's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, fly on the wall. And what that means is you stay the fuck out of our way until we're done. Like,
yep.
And he knows that. He knows. You don't mess their fucking groove up until it's over. And at the end, we'll shoot the shit. We'll do outros. We'll do intros. We'll do exercise explanations. We'll do video wrap-ups. We'll do all that shit after we have 5 minutes to catch our breath and like chill out for a minute, let our central nervous system calm down. But I'm always wondering, I'm like, if you're scrolling TikTok or fucking Instagram, like, how much are you leaving on the table? Like, it goes back to that whole balance thing, right? Like, if you're there doing emails in between sets, most would say, oh, that's balance, Chris. I got to work and make money. Okay, cool. Put that phone on Do Not Disturb. Be in there a quarter less of the time and then get back to work, right? Like, if you're more focused, then a workout can go from an hour and a half to 45 or an hour and a half to 60 minutes. Like, how much better progress will you get and how much better will you be at work when you go back to it? Like, I think so many people like fail to realize that, right? They think they're getting balance, but the problem is they're trying to ride 2 horses with 1 ass, right? Like, I believe this in my fucking heart, man. Like, and I talked at the beginning about the 3, right? So whatever your most important 3 things in your life are, one of those has to be one. That's the thing you're going to do exceptionally well. If your job is to grow your business to make money, bodybuilding in your family has to come second and third, right?
Mm-hmm.
No different than if you're gassing it for a bodybuilding show or in the off season, like, man, I'm going to do a 12-week push, hard as fuck. That is my number one goal in life. Sleep, workouts, everything will be on point. That's number 1. Business in my family is number 2. And there's going to come a time when the show's over and I'm like, hey, I'm going to put my family back to 1. Or there's going to be time where I'm like releasing programs, doing something like making t-shirts, building a YouTube channel. Or guess what? Business is now number 1. And everything else comes second and third. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean I'm missing meals. It doesn't mean when I train, I'm not training hard as shit. It just means that every extra allotment of mental space that I have extra is going towards business or family at that time. Right. And to me, like, so many fail to realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're wondering why they're not progressing when bodybuilding is number 10 on their list, and it's like, cool. That thing drives me up a fucking wall. If someone was like, especially like if you're a national level competitor and you do something during a contest prep where you fuck up your meal timing,
Oh yeah.
you're getting like cool if you have the genetics for it. But it's just like it drives me up a wall. It's like, oh, you moved. Oh, I had this, so I moved meal 4 and I just combined it with meal 5. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, find a way to put that higher up on the list, will you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's like, oh well, I hadn't had a meal in 4 hours, so I just ate what they had. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Like part of my soul just died a little.
Yeah.
Especially when they're good. Like I think that's what gets me the most, right? Is like when you have a good competitor or client, like when I say good, I mean how they look physically and how their genetic lottery hit. Like it literally will eat at my soul. Because I'm like, man, if I had a quarter of your genetics, I would have been a pro 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Same with you. If we give you, I'm trying to think, you give you Lionel Biecki's fucking genetics, you would have won the Olympia by now. 7 years of competing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not the genetic lottery you hit, or Flex Wheeler, fill in the blank. You know,
Yeah.
somebody who's genetic elite, whose mind was stood in the way of them being their greatest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, by all means, Flex Wheeler had some of the best genetics ever, but he would have had to go to crazy places to beat Ronnie or Dorian, right? And he wasn't willing to do that. Like he wanted to party and he wanted to have balance. And his genetics got him to 2 in the world. Like that would have drove me enough to say, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go all in for shit. He probably could have went all in for a year and won the Olympia at least once.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if you ever heard Jay talk about like 2009 Olympia win versus 2010. And he said like literally 2009, he was all in. And he didn't know when 2009 ended if he could replicate that in 2010 because he went so aggressively hard at winning that Olympia back that his whole life was centered around that singular moment of winning and doing that quad stomp. And he's like, that's why I don't think I looked as good at 2010 is because I didn't give it that same level of effort. And he's like, in 2009, that was 100% effort. And then that's cool that he can look back and reflect and say that, right?
Yep.
He's like, listen, I was unbalanced all of 2009 when he started with Hani, and just literally every duck in a row, everything perfect. And you see, like, that's one of the most iconic poses and Olympians ever. Right. So, something for you all guys to consider out there when you're.
Yeah. And I can promise when Jay looks back at that 2009 prep, all the things he gave up, sacrificed for that, he's not mad about.
No.
You know, that's what was needed, and he made that decision. And I can bet you without what I put money on that. There's nothing in there what went south because of bodybuilding, what he was, he wasn't okay with.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
if it happened, it happened.
Right.
Even, you talk about just hanging out people on the phone if they had problems.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, imagine stripping down backstage and looking around and be like, this is mine. And you go out there and you walk and you hit that quad stomp, and it's a mixture of like gasps and just utter silence and then an elation of cheer. Like in that moment, to me, all of that sacrifice and suffering or whatever you want to fucking unbalanced time, it's worth it. At that moment of time, he had zero regret. None. And I've said this online multiple times before. Any client who I've ever had who's went all in and gotten pilled for a show has never said anything but thank you to me. They have never came up and said, Chris, I hate you for wrecking my fucking life. I hate you for ending my marriage. I hate you for making me get fired from my job. Nothing. And all of that's happened in preps with guys getting pilled with me. Every one of them has said thank you. I looked wild, huh? Yeah, you fucking did, bro. Like, and it's interesting that, it's the ones who want that balance that think, oh, well, I'm going to have regret, right? And they think, oh, if I go all in, what's going to happen? But the ones who do go all in, like, it's nothing but thank you. Because when you get on stage, it's so rewarding. Or to look, shit, you don't even have to get on stage. Just to look in the mirror and know I gave 100% effort for an X amount of time period. That's rewarding. And to me, I think we talked about that in one of the previous episodes where I said to you, like, when a prep starts, I lock myself in the basement and I come up when the light comes back on. No other options. There's no plan B.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the best I can be at that moment of time and let the cards fall where they do. And if I'm last, great. If I'm first, fuck yeah. Right?
Exactly. I mean, I can only imagine how bad it's got to feel to have great genetics and half-ass something in prep and then come in second.
Oh, yeah.
Like that would eat me alive. Be like, oh, cool. Maybe that burger on Wednesday wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe skipping those cardio sessions wasn't a good idea. Oh, maybe eating that untracked snack wasn't a good idea. You know, it's like that's all gonna be. You're gonna fucking live with that. You know, and either way, I mean, you call it balance, unbalanced. I mean, that it is what it is. But anybody who's, you know, any Olympic athlete, any athlete who's performing at a high level is going to do unbalanced shit. It's the name of the game. Like, if you want to be anything but normal, gonna have to do things what are not normal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty fucking simple. You want to be outside the norm, got to do things outside of the norm. You can't expect to live like a normal person and look like an abnormal person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two different roads.
You know, it's really interesting. Like when I look back in hindsight of when I took you to that diner in Pittsburgh, and then I took Chris to that Cheesecake Factory in Anaheim, it was the same situation, right? You guys were at peace with the decision because we knew, me and you and him and I, that your peaks were nailed, the preps were nailed, and the all season before that, we could not have done anything better. To that day, the judges didn't deem your placing high enough to turn pro, either of you. And all we knew, we just needed more time and more work. And that's why you could eat that meal and we can smile and laugh and joke and have fun, right? As opposed to if you knew you were smashing pizzas every Thursday night behind my back, right? Because it was football Thursday or fill in the blank, whatever it is. You were going to hammering drinks on Friday because Chris, it's just vodka and Diet Coke, right? That's not going to fuck me up that bad. It's going to dry me out. I'm going to look crazier on Saturday. Trust me, right? All the weird justifications. The reason that both of you could sit down at a table and take a deep breath and be like, cool, it is what it is. We're going to come back nastier and bigger next year and make a run at it again. And that peace of mind is because you didn't have balance. And the ones who don't comprehend that have never done that, right? And the only reason I think I peak you perfect is because you follow the fucking plan. I believe in my heart I'm going to say every, 95% of the peaks I do only get fucked up because the client doesn't follow it, or they freelance, or their stress gets through the roof, or something else outside of my power fucks it up. I believe that in my heart. And I know people.
No, 100%. I've seen it happen too many times with others.
Yeah.
Coach said add 50 grams of carbs from rice. I added a Pop-Tart.
Correct. Yep.
Wonder what fucking went wrong.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's impossible for you to miss, especially when I'm in person, because there's no chance of, oh, the light's weird. Oh, this is weird, right? I literally would look at you and say, go eat this, 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 this. I'd text it to you. I'd literally watch you go in the kitchen and make it because I was waiting for the kitchen to make my meal next. And then you would eat it and we'd reassess and we'd go again. At any moment, if something went haywire with your physique, we were on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's because I'd read your body for the last fucking 7 years and knew where it was going. Right. Like, like that's the key. That's the secret, boys and girls out there. I'm telling you, you want to be great, throw balance out the window and attack. And don't look back, and you'll have zero regrets. And anyone who, in my mind, who cares about you and loves you as a human or a person or a wife or a husband or boyfriend or whatever, will still be there when it's over.
Yeah.
You just will. It might not be hard. It might be hard. You might get into a fight or two. But I know in my heart, Angel's not going anywhere. Even though I might be a complete fucking asshole at times, or be selfish, or fill in the blank. Right? So I think that's where we're going to end it. Balance. That's what I say to it. Yes. Next short idea. All right, guys.
Right.
Until next time, Little Dave, Chris Edmonds, we are out. See you next week.